Is your magic meter running low? Well, we've got a cure for you. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePaoli, and today on the show I have my friend Riley Costello here with me. Hello, Riley.
Hey there.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I think the last time you were on, it was about your performance in Beauty and the Beast at the Hollywood Bowl, correct?
Yes, it was.
Excellent. And before that, we talked about...
The best movie in the entire world.
Oh, well, that's quite a statement.
In my opinion, the best movie in the entire world. If you don't remember what it was.
It was Cinderella, starring...
Brandy and Whitney.
There we go. But today we are here for PrimeTime at the parks, so let's get to that right now.
Don't touch that remote, because you're tuned into PrimeTime at the parks.
So today's PrimeTime at the parks is going to be about the show Blossom, starring Mayim Bialik from the early 90s. I believe the first season was 1990. And this show, the episode we're talking about was in Season 3. It's episode 19 in Season 3, and it was called The Best Laid Plans of Mice and Men. And if you'd like to watch it, it's available on Hulu. And we just watched it.
And had a blast.
Had a blast. Okay, so I'm going to preface this by saying I knew of Blossom. I think it was a very iconic show from the 90s. What year were you born? Can you say?
Oh, I
no.
don't. I'm a 90s kid.
Okay. So were you aware of it in the 90s, or was it you just hear people talk about it?
I'm slightly after.
Okay.
My older brother would have been like more appropriate age to watch the show. But I'm in the same boat as you. I'm very aware of the show.
Okay.
I knew of it, know of it, but I this was my first episode I'd ever actually seen. Okay,
I'd seen a couple episodes. My sister Andrea was obsessed with the show because she was in love with Joey Lawrence, as everybody was. And I actually remember vacationing here in California, and like one of the things we had to do was go see a taping of the show Brotherly Love, starring all of the Lawrence brothers. And I did not go to a taping of Blossom, no, but Brotherly Love I did, and that was fun. But in any case, so I hadn't seen many episodes of this, so I kind of didn't know what I was getting into. And I loved it.
I loved it too.
Probably not for all the right reasons, but...
No, it's definitely a time capsule.
Yeah, it's...
In a lot of ways.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll get there.
Goodness.
We'll get there.
Yes, the retro stuff is crazy. But let's talk about something completely not Disneyland related for a second. The opening credits of this show...
Yes.
...are kind of amazing.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say, because I feel like anybody that watches the show is going to be like, oh, you really don't know anything about this. Because I was very surprised. I was like, wow, she's got all these dance talents.
No, I remember
There was tumbling, there was tapping, there was ballet, there was...
Yeah, I didn't, like, remember it, but the second I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's how the show opens. It's Blossom doing a bunch of different dances, and it cuts to her dancing with all the co-stars, and it's, at one point she's tapping on top of a piano, and... yeah, she's having some fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Classic 90s. I love the draped fabric in the back, which looks like every kid's like school photo.
Right, when you get your family portraits,
yes.
Of course, it's absolutely that like photo studio where they develop film, and I can smell it. Like, no, really, like that film.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I had
nostalgia.
I had a situation recently where I walked in somewhere and it smelled like Blockbuster Video.
You told me about this,
and I nearly teared up.
Yeah,
like God.
Either you told me about this or you tweeted it, and I laughed.
Yeah, Blockbuster smelled so good. Yeah. Anyway, so opening sequence, fantastic. By the way, I'm going to say, even if you've never seen Blossom, listeners, go watch this episode.
Oh, you can jump right in.
Oh my goodness, so good. As I said, Season 3, Episode 19, The Best Laid Plans of Mice and Men. And now something that was weird with this, and I do not think that this is an every episode thing for Blossom, the narrator?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. I don't think it's an every episode thing, but again, I've never really seen it. But I assume just for this episode, they wanted to make it sort of fairy tale-ish. So they had somebody voiceover narrating the whole thing.
They do the whole storybook opening.
Yeah, that was
closing.
Cool.
And there's a fairy tale narrator the whole time that I felt was really unnecessary, personally. Like, I didn't really care for that aspect of it. And I don't know, the voice choice was not my favorite either.
Well, the funny thing is when it started, I was like, Mayim she was young. I thought it was meant to be her voice at first.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't sound like her at all.
When You think of Mind Bialik, what do you think of aside from Blossom?
Big Bang Theory.
Okay, what else do you think of?
I don't want to say because it might be my trivia question.
Okay, then I'll just leave it alone. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll find out later.
I've actually seen her speak before at an event. She's brilliant.
Like as a scientist?
More along the lines of like a motivational type of speech, but she is very, very cool to listen to. She's really smart.
Cool. So the basic story here is that their dad is hired. He's a musician, and he's hired to perform at Disneyland, and we soon find out that he's filling in for somebody, and he's going to be playing Elvis, which actually is a thing that happens at the Tomorrowland Terrace stage. Have you ever seen the Elvis Impersonator?
No.
Oh, this happens all the time.
Still?
Yeah, maybe not currently, but like a year ago, yes.
No way.
Yes.
I did not know they still did that.
So Tomorrowland Terrace has a lot of like outside performers come in. Like I'm a huge fan of the 80s All-Stars. Have you ever seen them?
No, but I've heard you talk about them.
The 80s All-Stars are fantastic at the Tomorrowland Terrace. Thomasina is
I know who that
awesome.
Yeah.
I love Thomasina. They have some others that do some great things, and one of them is this guy who's an Elvis impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was kind of funny that they had the dad dress up as Elvis and fill in. And because of this, he's kind of embarrassed. He doesn't want his kids to go see him perform at Disneyland, so he tries to do some reverse psychology and get the kids not to go, and he thinks they're not coming, but in any case, they're like, it's Disneyland, we have to go, and let's go see Dad. And of course, they figure out he's Elvis, which isn't the greatest. But before we head there, I mean, what were just some favorite moments for you in this episode? There are so many for me.
There are so many.
Let's talk about before they actually get to the park. Was there anything that you... I love the line Joey on the couch, and he's like got the paper towel tube or something. He's like, Luke, I am your father. And I was just like, at that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, was that like... just a happenstance situation, but at that point, Star Tours would have been open, so it did make sense.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't have anything that stands out before they got to the park. First thing I think is when they're at the ticket booth, and you can see the old parking lot. Like,
yeah,
I mean that's
before Disney California Adventure.
That's the stuff that was overwhelmingly. I was so impressed by. These episodes this was what, 92 you said?
I think it was 1992, which like was long ago, but wasn't that long ago.
But it's so exciting that these exist because I'm sure 20 years from now we're going to go look at the Modern Family episode and be like, oh, remember when that was like this?
Yeah.
It's a time capsule in so many ways.
Yeah.
It was really cool to just see the different signage, and it was really awesome.
Well, even one of the first things that happens when they get to the park, the oldest brother is at the ticket booth, and one of the things we like to talk about on the PrimeTime at the parks is whether or not it feels like a commercial. And there was a very like commercial moment, in my opinion, when the attendant or the cast member was like, would you like to buy some Disney dollars? It's our currency in the park.
Yeah.
I was like, were they like pushing Disney dollars in 1992 or something? This felt very strange.
Apparently.
And very commercial to me at that moment.
Although that was maybe one of the only things that I felt that way. Like, I didn't feel this was too commercial.
It wasn't too commercial. It always gets a little bit that way when they start listing things. Where it's like the Matterhorn, where you can go 100 miles per hour up a mountain, which, first of all, you do not go 100 miles per hour on that attraction. But yeah, overall...
But even that was for a purpose, because one of the characters is scared of heights, and Vinny is scared of heights.
Yeah.
And so he was listing like fast rides. It didn't feel very much like our newest attraction is.
Agreed. It didn't feel too much like that. But the Disney dollars thing was the moment that I was like, ooh, commercial. So that was fun. And let's see, what else we got here? Oh, in the living room who was it? Was it Blossom or the older brother? Were like, we're kind of past Disneyland. We're adults now. I was like, ooh. That's like always a thing you got to deal with as a Disney fan, right? People are like, why do you go all the time? It's for kids. No, it's not.
I don't get that very often. Maybe I'm just hanging out with the right people.
I think you are. Yeah.
Or I don't care.
Yeah. Next, I have a note here. What does this say? Next 3 children followed him to the Magic Kingdom. The children, I think. So, so this is an interesting point. The narrator calls it the Magic Kingdom.
Yes. So did the dad.
Yes. At one point, the dad calls it the Magic Kingdom. We're talking about Disneyland Park. And I always find this so interesting because to me, there is the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, and they do call it Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom on the train at Disneyland. Now taking a grand circle tour of Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom, I think is what they say. And so, I don't know, how do you feel about that? When you heard the narrator or the dad call Disneyland Park the Magic Kingdom?
It's weird.
Does it jump out at you?
It does jump out at me.
Okay.
But I know that some Primetime in the Park episodes are at Walt Disney World. And I always think it's funny, like, I wonder how that decision gets made.
Oh, where they shoot?
Yeah.
My guess is budget.
Well, of course, but I mean, even the Full House one that you did.
Plus, it all depends on what they have to promote. Like, Full House, I'm trying to think if they promoted anything new specifically. That one I don't think they did, but I know, like, for Family Matters, they were really pushing the Wilderness Lodge, I believe, was the newest thing. So they were pushing that. And then for Sabrina, by the way, these are all past episodes of Primetime in the Parks on Disney Coast to Coast if you want to check those out. But Sabrina, they were pushing the opening of Disney's Animal Kingdom. So this one, I think, was more just more organic, really. It didn't feel, as you said, so much like a commercial.
It didn't feel like an ad for their new attraction in any way.
They just had some really funny stuff happen. Some jarring stuff, and then some nostalgic stuff.
The jarring stuff, even right off the bat, where you're like backstage, and you see Belle walking down a staircase by a bathroom.
Yes, so
that was really. I'm just surprised that was allowed.
So this felt kind of. By the way, if this was 92, let's I did IMDb. The series was 90. This is the third season, so it would be like 92. So that's soon after Beauty and the Beast comes out, right? So obviously that was a character they were kind of pushing. It felt like they were in the Utilidors, even though Disneyland only has an underground segment under Tomorrowland to basically load that stage, the Tomorrowland Terrace stage that rises up. So there's a small section there, so maybe that's where they shot that, or it may have been a set. I'm not sure.
I bet it was a set.
But he does run it. The dad does run into Belle there. Belle is still in character.
Yes, which I appreciated.
You appreciate that, but then later on, they totally break character with Belle.
I don't even know. That's a whole other conversation.
Well, let's have that conversation.
Are you talking about the kissing montage?
Yes, because, listen, we can, this is not, hopefully people listening to this will go and watch the episode. We are not doing this in order by any means. This is simply our thoughts after having just seen the episode. But yes, there is a kissing montage, and minute
and a half.
Part of it includes the dad dressed as Elvis making out with Belle.
Yeah.
And this, I cannot. The character integrity is shocking to me.
I don't know who made those decisions. I mean, I get it. It's a show. It's the writers. It's awesome, but it was surprising. It is definitely, it pulls you out of it.
To me, it's not surprising that somebody thought of the idea, especially a writer who, for all we know, could have never been to Disney. Exactly. Wouldn't it be funny if the dad kissed Belle? The thing that shocks me is that it gets past the Disney lawyers.
That's what I'm saying. That's shocking to me.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Elvis and Belle hooking up. So that's a thing that happened on the show. What else? Let's see. When we're in those underground tunnels, I had a freak out moment, and you had no idea what I was freaking out about, I think. But the party walks by.
Right.
And if you were a kid who watched Disney Channel in the early 90s, you will know the party is the band from MMC, the New Mickey Mouse Club, and they were there performing at the Tomorrowland Terrace before the dad came out as Elvis. That was such an awesome throwback.
He squealed.
I really did.
Yeah.
That was very exciting. And you were like, I have no idea who this is.
I know. I was like, cool. Yeah, the party.
I wasn't even a fan of the party necessarily, but it just brought back.
I don't know if you can say that after the noise you made.
No, I honestly couldn't tell you a single song they made. It just brought back awesome, like, MMC nostalgia memories.
Right.
And I got very excited by that. That's what the squeal was all about.
Okay, I see.
But yeah, what were some other favorite moments for you?
One thing that stuck out to me was they definitely shot this in winter. Because everybody was in multiple layers of clothing, scarves and hats, and I was thinking, this is. Yeah,
but it wasn't decorated for Christmas.
No,
nor Halloween.
Good point. When did they start decorating for Halloween?
Well, I don't know. This is 92, so I don't think it was nearly as insanely early as it is now.
Well, I mean, it could have been spring, but it was It was even cloudy. There was a couple shots.
Maybe it was like January or February.
Yeah.
It probably was because there was probably like that's the slower season in the park.
Right. I mean,
so it's easier
there
for
was
production.
there was one shot like when Joey's getting on Thunder Mountain it was misty and foggy. Like, you couldn't see anything. And
I didn't notice the layers on people, but
multiple layers and scars and things.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Well, because it's still hot here right now, and I'm still, like, my body's not ready to look at someone in a jacket and think that it's normal, especially at Disneyland, because it's always so hot.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, my guess is you're probably right. Probably January, February.
Yeah, it had to have been.
After the decorations came down.
One question I had is, do you think, when did Toontown open?
Toontown opened, ooh, goodness. There's Afternoon Avenue.
I love that I expect you to just pull these out of your head.
Some random crap I do know, but some, Toontown.
It was fairly new, is what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, in the early 90s, that was new.
Because they really shot a lot of this episode in Toontown. Did you notice?
There were good chunks there, and there was also nostalgia there that made me sad. Like, the trolley was moving.
Yeah, and it was also looking fresh. That paint was vibrant.
Yeah, Toontown looked good, and
I have not seen it look that good.
Have you ever seen the trolley move in real life?
Probably when I was a kid, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it move. I probably have visited when it was moving, but I don't, like, remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
And they had, it's such a wonky trolley, and it, rolls back and forth, and, like, to see that just going by in the background was like, oh, remember when that actually became a thing? Random thought. I recently went on, for the first time, probably since I was like 10 years old, I went on Gadget's Go coaster.
I recently went on it too.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And I was with somebody, my buddy Preston. Hey, Preston. He's young, and he didn't even know who Gadget was. He was like, who's this? I'm like, from Rescue Rangers.
Right.
So it's kind of funny that still exists for a little while anyway. I think Toontown's on its way out. But yeah, so, how about the Michael Jackson comment?
There were a lot of jokes
92.
in this episode.
Would Captain EO have been in the park in 1992?
I don't know.
I think it may have been, which is really even more interesting because they were talking about, was it Six? Her best friend Six,
yes.
I think, was making a comment about how Mickey Mouse used to be black and white, and now he has human eyes and flesh-colored eyes, and it goes, he must have the same plastic surgeon as Michael Jackson. And I was just like, that kind of took me out of it. Yeah, I was like, all right, that just happened. That's interesting.
Even more so than that, and I'm jumping forward, but there were a couple comments and jokes made about, like, women in general that all of the alarms in my head were going, this is not good.
This is not okay.
I'm shocked, but it just shows you even how something from the early 90s feels so inappropriately outdated now. Like the Lincoln making the comment about, is her name Rhonda, dusting the Oval Office and being distracted by her attractiveness and Well,
let's set this up. There's a scene between, I just call him the older brother. What is his name? I don't even know.
We're gonna have to Google.
The oldest brother, not Joey, on the show, is in great moments with Mr. Lincoln, and he's trying to, make things happen with his girlfriend, and everybody exits the theater but Lincoln. First of all, my first thought was they show everybody exit the theater with Lincoln still on stage. And I'm thinking to myself, that is not how it works. It's never been like that. The curtain comes down, Lincoln wouldn't still be there. And then I realized why they did that. Because Lincoln comes back to life as a character. He's not like doing his Disneyland spiel. He is a character is talking to
the older brother.
And he's making comments about how ugly his wife was, and if he had a girl that looked like
Rhonda dusting the Oval Office, he wouldn't have gone to the theater.
Exactly. So,
but not just that too. Vinny at the end, Blossom gets jealous because she thinks that she's on the sky buckets.
Vinny, her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend she thinks she sees him kissing another girl, and it's his cousin. It's one of those classic storylines. And at the end, when they kind of make up, he says, and besides, she's huge.
Yes.
And I was like, no, please stop now.
At first, I thought I was misunderstanding. I was like, is he talking about her being fat?
And then he was like, yeah, no, she's really...
from way up there.
She's a big girl, yeah.
From way up there, she looks small, but she's really a big girl.
I was shocked and very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's
I feel like I need to apologize to somebody. Like, it's horrible.
Yeah, times have changed, huh?
Yeah.
We couldn't get away with that anymore.
I wouldn't want to. That's so bad. That's not like to have that be the resolution of a conflict between a young couple is, and besides, she's fat. Like that is such to have in the writer's room, like that they thought that was an appropriate resolve of that storyline, right? That like that would be like, oh, of course he wouldn't date her. I can't even. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but I can't get past that.
My face literally hurts from laughing.
Who
so
do we
hard
call?
Over this. I don't think we have to worry about it. I don't think they're writing any new episodes anytime soon. But yeah, what were some of the nostalgia things in there that really? I mean, Sky Buckets, man.
Oh, Sky Buckets! You yelled out "People Mover."
Oh, the People Mover! Yes. So they actually shot a scene in the Sky Buckets.
That was cool.
And they're going through the Matterhorn. I never experienced the Sky Buckets at Disneyland because when they were around, I'm trying to think when was my first visit to Disneyland. It might have been after they were gone. But even if they were there, I would have been too scared of them.
I don't think I ever went on them either.
Yeah.
But I recently actually got to sit in an original one at the...
That's from Disneyland exhibit? I always was against Sky Buckets because I very much feel... I like the idea of you're in this place and you can't see the outside world.
Yeah.
And also seeing the tops of the roofs at Disney Park, like they're gross and ugly and stuff. I've always hated them.
I agree. It feels a little bit more carnival ride versus, the whole purpose of Disneyland, the whole allure is the theming.
Yeah. So I've never been a Sky Bucket fan, but I know a lot of people love them. So sorry if you love them and I hate them, but it's all right. We can disagree on that. But the People Mover was definitely there in the background, and that I still love that at Magic Kingdom in Florida. Oh,
yeah, me too.
I love the People Mover, and I definitely miss that.
I think a lot of the nostalgia stuff is also just like even the Tomorrowland stage, what it used to look like. Small things like that where they're still there, but they look different. It's just the old version of that.
Yeah.
Even that.
Even costumes. The Dapper Dan's costumes looked a bit different.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Even just like the architecture at the what's it called now? The food. The quick service restaurant by the Tomorrowland stage.
Oh,
it's like Buzz. No, it's not.
It was like the Tomorrowland something.
Terrace?
That's the stage. Are you talking about? You're not talking about Pizza Port.
No.
Okay, the one connected kind of to the stage area.
Right there. Yeah.
I don't know the name of it.
Well,
Tomorrowland Grill or something like that.
Right. Doesn't even really matter. It's just that the old railings they're different now. It's just little things like that, little design things that they've changed over the years. It's kind of fun it takes a second to remember where you are sometimes. Yeah,
speaking of the Sky Buckets for a second, though, they did kind of promote something that I was like, why are you giving people these ideas? And when Blossom is upset with Vinny and sees him down below kissing this cousin of his, and she thinks he's cheating, she's like, I'm going to throw ice on him. Which... is that maybe part of the reason why they got rid of the Sky Buckets? Were like people doing that?
People would throw a lot of stuff off of the Sky Buckets.
What's wrong with people?
I don't know. That would be a horrible thing to do.
I wouldn't. Would you do that?
No, I would never. Okay. When I was a kid, I probably would have done that. Now I would never do that now. But when you're a kid,
I guess.
I was also like a little bit of that would have been something I probably would have found funny as a kid.
You were a brat.
No, I didn't say that. Excuse me. I think I would have found it funny. Like,
well, I was just surprised that once again that Disney lawyers were like, sure, that can stay in the show because to me that just gives people ideas, and I am curious if
you're blaming Blossom for the closing of the Sky Buckets.
I am partially blaming Blossom, yes, because I'm blaming the throwing of I don't know the specific reason for getting rid of that attraction, to be honest.
It was really... I read some book, Mouse Tales?
Oh, possibly. I get those books, yeah.
And there's a whole chapter about Sky Buckets and why they... It was a very hard attraction to run, apparently.
Okay. I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, it wasn't like one of those things where you get on, it was like the monorail, where you get on at one point and exit at another point. So, like, you got on in Fantasyland and actually exited the attraction in Tomorrowland, which is kind of a bad thing if, like, your mom's way. Like, it's one of those things that could cause people to lose children. Yeah. I'm thinking.
I think it was a constant stream, like, it didn't slow down or something. And they loading and unloading was very, very difficult, and people would try to stay on for multiple rides, and it was complicated, and people were throwing things, and somebody jumped out of one once and landed in that tree that's by Monstro.
Oh, wow.
I believe it's that tree. And he tried to sue the company.
Because he jumped out of the sky bucket?
He said that he fell out because the door was something. And apparently there was camera footage of him, like, screwing with the door the whole time to try to open it, and so he lost that case. Allegedly.
Man. Unbelievable. How about the interesting situation with the Minnie Mouse ears?
Again, how did they allow this?
Okay.
They didn't watch this episode. They didn't approve this.
Somebody didn't read the script.
They didn't approve this.
Yeah, so the older brother, whose name I keep forgetting, he has some mouse ears for his girlfriend, and he goes to give these mouse ears to his girlfriend, and she goes to put them on, and he's like, what do you say? Like, no.
He's like, you don't have to put those on now.
Like, save them for later type of thing. And she's like, why save them for later? And he was basically insinuating, like, let's put them on when we're making out in the bedroom. And, like, aren't people into that? Like, isn't that a thing? And I was just...
I have nothing to say.
I was dumbfounded by that.
Yeah.
That was an interesting moment in the show. And that happened once again. There's a lot of unbelievable moments in this episode of Blossom. I'm telling you, I highly suggest watching this.
It's so worth the watch.
Absolutely. So much fun. What else happened? I thought the scene between Joey and Princess Aurora was really funny.
Yeah.
Where she's clarifying the difference between the princes. So Joey is trying to hit on Princess Aurora, and she's like, oh,
and every other female in the park.
Yeah, but specifically their conversation, she's like, oh, Prince Philip is waiting for me. And I think it's just something like, isn't his name Prince Charming? And she's like, no, Prince Charming is Cinderella's. And then the prince is Snow White's, and Ariel's is Prince Eric. And it's just a funny conversation because I've had this conversation with people about Prince Charming. And isn't Prince Charming Snow White's prince? I'm like, no, Prince Charming is Cinderella's prince. And it's a fun conversation that they had, I thought.
I liked that.
It made me laugh. And what else happened?
I also like that they put a light at the bottom of the well.
Oh, yeah.
Like a really bright one.
To shine up at them. Yeah. Oh, and... there is a moment where we get to see Joey Lawrence in the Prince Philip costume in kind of a fantasy kissing sequence.
Yes.
They're in front of the castle, and he's making out with Princess Aurora.
Another weird.
Yeah, that one I accepted a little more just because he was dressed as Prince Philip.
And it was a fantasy, I guess, for him.
Yeah, and that one was a fantasy, whereas Elvis and Belle
is weird. You can't get around that.
No, that one that will never erase from my memory. I wish they'd sell that on like a poster.
I know what to get you.
You know what I would love to
for
do?
Your birthday.
Please don't. I would love to just show that still to someone and be like, what do you think's happening here?
Yeah.
Because, like, my first thought would have to be like, must be a Mickey's Halloween party or something where, like, two guests went dressed as Elvis and Belle. The fact that it's a legit Disney Belle is just hilarious to me. I love it. What else happened? What else?
I liked that when they were on the Jungle Cruise. They used some of the actual jokes. I thought that was good because they didn't start that way, and I was worried that they were going to pretend to not that they were just going to say whatever they wanted and like loosely talk about the Jungle Cruise. But he actually started saying some of the script.
Yeah, and it's the old school Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
It was the Indiana Jones Adventure Jungle Cruise, so the boats actually look different, and they were still shooting the hippos.
Yeah. Oh, they still do?
No, they shoot in the air now.
Right.
They were actually aiming at the hippos and kaboom.
Oh, I never... Yeah, so now they shoot to scare them off.
Yeah.
My favorite Jungle Cruise, though, is where they don't use the gun, and this is my favorite. Indulge me. When they...
No, I love it. I can't wait to hear this.
This is so funny to me. I don't know why. Every time I'm surprised by a Jungle Cruise joke, it's my favorite thing, and I won't stop talking about it.
I agree.
And I get mad when they don't do my favorite ones, too. But my favorite thing is where they don't even touch the gun. They're like, I'm going to scare them off. I'm going to scare them like I scared my ex-boyfriend. I love you! Just scream.
That's a funny one.
I like that.
I like that too. I've heard that one and I really enjoy that.
The gun's loud.
I also, I honestly don't know what the point of the gun is. My guess is with it still being there. I always was like, is somebody listening out for these?
Yeah, that's also in Mouse Tales. Apparently, if you hear two shots,
I need to read Mouse Tales again because it's been like a decade.
I also don't know how I'm retaining this because I read this like 2 years ago.
Okay,
but I think it's like a signal thing. If you hear two, it's all going as planned. If a boat is stuck, it's 3 shots, and they'll know at the dock. And there's something else. If you just hear one, it's a whole system.
If you hear one, we ran out of bullets.
Yeah, if you hear one, it's jammed.
My favorite is so these days, in the old days, they actually used to aim at the hippos to kill the hippos and get them out of your way. Of course, PETA doesn't like that. So these days
Neither does Riley.
They're fake hippos. It's fine.
I don't care.
You're okay with throwing ice at real humans.
No,
but you're not okay with shooting blanks at fake hippos.
We'll talk about this later.
Priorities.
We will talk about this later.
Anyway, so now they shoot it in the air to scare them off. And my favorite is, have you ever heard a skipper go, "Oh, well, hold on a second while I shoot those hippos up on the trees."
Yeah.
Bang, bang. And that one cracks me up.
Yeah, I got those two in the trees. I've heard. I love the Jungle Cruise.
You know what I would kill for? I'd love to be going through that and have somebody tell that joke, and like after the second shot, we just see a massive hippo fall from the sky and splash in the water.
Maybe they'll do that in the movie.
Oh, that'd be great. Aren't you just waiting for the rock jokes for the Jungle Cruise? You know that there's going to be look, the star of our latest Jungle Cruise movie, and then like point at a rock.
There's already a whole rock joke section.
Oh, the granite.
Yeah. Limestone. Most people take it for granite.
Yeah. So there's some...
My sediments, exactly.
Yeah. You really love the Jungle Cruise, huh?
I do.
I like it too if there's not a wait.
Well, there never is.
Sometimes there is.
That's not true. Well, I won't go on it if there's a wait.
Are you a fan of...
If it's upstairs, I don't go on it. If the line is upstairs, I don't go.
How do you like Jingle Cruise?
I love Jingle Cruise.
Yeah.
I like any overlay, to be honest.
Really?
Well, when you go to the park so much, like, I really like the overlays.
I'm trying to think if there's an overlay I don't like.
Because I also then get excited about when the real one's coming back.
Yeah. That's true.
And they like usually do some sort of refurb where they add a little something.
That is true.
Like
It's always nice when it comes back and you're like, oh, they actually did some work. How lovely.
I almost wore my Schweitzer Falls shirt tonight.
Named after Dr. Falls.
Albert Falls. I think that is one of the funniest jokes, and nobody laughs because I don't think anyone gets it.
Oh, I get it. I think it's funny, but Jungle Cruise is tough. Like,
you have to get a really good skipper.
You do, but even still, even if it's a really good skipper, I feel like 3 people are laughing. I don't feel like... I've never heard an entire boat of people roaring with laughter.
We need to go together more often.
Really? Your boats are usually laughing a lot?
Rockin'.
Really?
No.
I was going to say.
Sometimes. Or it's just like a party of one. I'm having a great time.
I do give pity laughs on Jungle Cruise sometimes.
I do
if nobody's
sometimes.
laughing, I feel really bad for the skipper, and I'll definitely pity laugh.
If they've earned it, I give them a pity laugh.
True.
That sounds like I'm a horrible, like I show up with a clipboard and like review them. I don't. I just like, I really like, when they nail it, they nail it. It's impactful.
It is definitely, I'd say there's no attraction that even more so than the Great Movie Ride. I don't think there's any attraction that really depends upon the host more than Jungle Cruise.
It's a big responsibility, actually. And I don't know who's doing upkeep on that, because I have definitely had a couple skippers before that.
But I mean, a lot of people have to work that attraction.
I know. I've definitely been on somebody's first boat. Like, I know it was their first boat. It was like 10:45 p.m. on a Tuesday night or something random, and they made a huge deal. All the other skippers like patting her on the back as she got on the boat.
Was she good?
No. I want to be really nice because I'm sure she's gotten
better. She's gotten better.
I'm sure she found all the nuances. No, it was so uncomfortable.
Riddle me this. I'm curious, since you're such a big Jungle Cruise fan, how would you feel about them changing out those engines? Because I hate them. They're so loud. But is that character for you?
No.
Character of the boat?
I have no problem with that.
Okay. Because I can like never hear well.
Yeah, you want your jokes to land, you got to hear them.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I'm also like not in charge of that. But I would
Let's make a call. Okay.
I would love that.
I was just curious. I do get that it's like kind of part of the...
You could just make it a little quieter.
It's so loud.
Yeah.
It's so loud. Oh, anyway, we got on a Jungle Cruise tangent. Back to Blossom. What else do you want to talk about? What else in this episode did you love? Are you going to go... Does this make you want to go back and watch some Blossom? It kind of made me want to start at the beginning. Because the story is I think she's the youngest in the family, and she's a girl living with 3 guys. I think her mom died, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think it's a divorce situation. And so it's just her and 3 guys and, her living life. And it was a big show.
I would totally go watch it. I feel like I have a long list of shows that I need to binge, but now that I know this is on Hulu.
I know. I didn't even know it was on Hulu originally until I looked into this. I was like, oh, perfect. Even better.
Yeah.
I love it.
I loved it, though. I know we've made a lot of comments about some of the outdated jokes and writing choices, but actually there was some really funny writing on it.
Such as, I'm trying to think.
I only remember the scary ones.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, it sounds like everything we love about it has to do with it being old. So we were appalled by some of the ways they were speaking, but let's face it was really funny. And then there's also all the nostalgia Disneyland stuff in there. So everything about it was the fact that it's an early 90s show. And
that honestly, that might be just a huge part of it. It's like when I watch the Golden Girls, it just it makes you feel safe. You're like,
yeah, the 90s were
the
great,
warm childhood feeling. Yeah.
The 90s, if you're listening to this and you don't remember the 90s, you were too young or maybe just really high, I'm sorry for you, because the 90s were amazing.
Yeah.
The 90s brought us Jurassic Park. The 90s brought us
Rugrats.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Rugrats. What else is 90s? Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
90s were amazing.
They really were.
Plus freaking Disney Renaissance. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Good stuff in the 90s. Anything else you want to add?
I didn't write anything else down that jumped out at me.
Okay, well, I enjoyed this show. I highly suggest it once again.
Oh, I totally lied. Just another thing where they made a comment about characters completely that really scared. We both went, whoa.
I don't what.
The running gag, because Vinny, the older brother's girlfriend is so pretty, is that all the characters are hanging out around her and wanting to talk to her, and all 7 dwarves are around her. And he said, "What is something about your thing being dating guys with big velour heads?" Yes. And I was shocked. Again, in what world that would never get past? People today.
The innuendo was pretty much right there. It's. What characters hit on her? The 7 dwarfs. Tigger did. Goofy was just in Toontown. He didn't hit on her. But there were several characters that were hitting on his girlfriend. And he was a weird, controlling dude.
You know what else is funny? And I know that no one else cares about this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I love it.
When going back to the Lincoln moment.
Yeah.
The show ends, the entire audience spills out of the theater, and she says to him, "You wait here, I'll be right back." And I'm like, that's not how this works. I know they had to justify him staying to talk to Lincoln, but you don't just wait in there and first of all, where's she going?
Yeah.
What is going to take so little time that she'll be right back? They're not going to let you in the exit.
Yeah, there will be another show that it will have started, so, yeah.
You don't just, stand in the theater alone.
She's not a Disneyland pro. She wasn't an annual pass holder, so she didn't know this
She
stuff.
Definitely bought a one-day ticket.
They all bought one-day tickets. Remember at the ticket booth, which is crazy, too.
I did
because they live in Southern California.
Yeah.
That bothered me at the beginning of the show. They live in Southern California. It starts, at the Hollywood sign.
Right.
And the dad's or somebody says, "We haven't been to Disneyland in years." I'm like, "You live in Southern California.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?" I guess maybe that's an ignorant thing to say. I'm sure there are a ton of people in Southern California who haven't been to Disneyland. But this is early 90s. This is before...
I think you might have a skewed view on this.
That's true. But also, it's early 90s. It's not like it was as insanely expensive as it is now.
Yeah, I actually wish that they had mentioned something about pricing.
It was probably $30.
But we never mentioned how the kids were going to pay for it by themselves.
Yeah.
They were apparently surprising their dad. So I wish that there had been some mention of money, just for my own curiosity.
Suspension of disbelief. That's what that was about. But yeah, it's so funny. I didn't even notice the parking lot that you mentioned, where Disney California Adventure is.
Just right when they're talking at the ticket booth. I loved that.
There's no garage. Your car got really hot all day long. And I get so angry. You ever go to Disneyland and get parked on Minnie on the roof of the parking structure?
Yeah.
I get so angry.
Last time I was there, I was on the roof.
If it's not the end of the day, I'm an angry person.
Yeah.
Getting my car all hot.
If you stay
late, it's fine. But if you don't, oh my God, you're going back to a blazing hot car.
Yeah, I don't like being up there.
Me either.
Last time I was there, I literally got the furthest spot in the wrong corner on the top level.
Isn't that the best too?
And you there's a moment where you're like, is this worth it? Should I just exit the parking structure and try again?
I'll tell you a situation.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever pulled into the parking structure, not liked where they were giving you, and just exited and tried again?
No, I wouldn't these days for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's pretty common for that thing to fill up and them not let anybody else in, so I wouldn't want to risk that. But I will say I did have a time where I went to Disneyland.
I know this story.
Okay, I'm going to tell it to the listeners.
Please.
But you can pretend this is the first time.
Oh, I'll be so shocked.
Okay. You're an actor. You can pull this off. I went to Disneyland and...
I'm sorry. I was going to save it. Keep going.
Went to Park at Mickey and Friends. They reroute me to Toy Story.
Unacceptable.
Which I mean, that enough is an insult.
Yeah.
Like... what are they going to call the new parking structure? Is it going to be like an expansion of Mickey and Friends?
And Friends.
Mickey and Friends and Friends? Awesome. So in any case, they pushed me to Toy Story, which is like on the other side of DCA.
I've never parked
and
there.
you got to catch a bus to get to the park. Like it's terrible. But in any case, it takes me about a half an hour to get from Mickey and Friends to Toy Story parking, which it should not. Traffic was insane. Get to Toy Story parking, can't find a spot. Finally find a spot after searching and searching. Then get out, get to the bus line. It's at least a 30-minute wait for the bus. Got back in my car and left.
Yeah.
I was like, can't do it.
I don't blame you. I know that people out there have real problems, but isn't it funny that like this really does make you
It'll
angry.
ruin your day.
It will. I know. I'm like, I'm fully aware.
Listen.
I'm fully aware that this is a champagne problem.
Driving the 5 on a Friday night in LA, it's a pretty big problem.
I know, but like,
no, I get
it is really funny though, because again, I am complaining about like getting the furthest spot. Oh no, on the hot top of the parking structure is so far. I gotta walk all the way over there. But it really is. I don't think I would park at Toy Story. Like that's how stuck up I am. I guess. Like I wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing to do.
You've actually exited the parking structure though to just drive back in.
No, I've never done that. I was just curious if you had.
No, I just wouldn't these days because it just fills
I'm also
up.
I say that I'm so impatient. If I'm in a spot, I'm like, great, let's get out of the car now and run to the park.
Sometimes I get greedy. So if it's later in the day and they're just filling spots where people have left already and it's not like the guided,
right.
everybody pulling in one right after the other,
go find
I'll
one.
get greedy and go up to the front and try to find one. When I don't find one and I have to circle the whole thing again, I'll get angry.
I got really lucky doing that the other day.
I have sometimes, which is why I keep trying.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's
I
great.
got in the first row.
Yeah, like, prime parking.
I just think it's funny because you do like mentally prepare yourself if you're doing one of the big days and you're going to be there late, or whatever. You have to budget like another hour to get. Sometimes
it's
on the tram.
The tram is not fun.
I walked last time.
I used to walk a lot. I do it less now because of the construction going on. It takes a little longer to walk through downtown Disney and everything. But yeah, I used to walk through downtown Disney a lot. Yeah. So times have changed though. Anyway, we've gone way off topic.
I know, but I could do this for hours.
But luckily, the characters in Blossom didn't need to walk that far because the parking lot was right there.
Right there, and we didn't even see them park.
It's true. Nor did we see the LA traffic to get to Disneyland.
The magic of television.
Oh goodness, it was fun. That's all I'm saying.
It was really fun.
Go watch Blossom on Hulu. I can't suggest it more. This may have been my favorite primetime at the parks. I'm not gonna say it was my favorite episode thus far. By the way, there's more to record, but I'd say it might be my favorite because I didn't know anything about the episode.
Right.
And it was just so much fun. Whereas like the other ones that I really enjoyed, I'd seen before. Like I'd seen the Full House one before. I kind of remembered pieces of it. This one was just so much fun from beginning to end. So go be appalled and have some good laughs along the way. Sound good?
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that means it's trivia time. So Riley, do you want to hit me with a trivia question first, or shall I hit you?
Why don't you go?
Okay, so this one's a little bit like convoluted in multiple questions.
Okay.
And at first you'll be like, what does this have to do with Disney? But we're going to go there.
Okay.
So you kind of mentioned it earlier. Mayim Bialik currently stars in another TV sitcom called...
Oh, The Big Bang Theory.
Okay, The Big Bang Theory. That has nothing to do with Disney. But one of her co-stars was on a TV show. The thing that made her famous, or, her first big gig, was an ABC sitcom that shot at the Walt Disney Studios lot. Who on the show?
Who on Big Bang Theory?
Yep.
Was it Kaylee Cuoco?
It was Kaylee Cuoco. What was the show?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
I know I shouldn't have said she.
You
That
did
gave
say
it
she, and
away.
I was like,
Sorry.
there's only one other.
I know.
There's the other one too, but Kaylee's.
Kaylee.
Wait, so she did an ABC sitcom.
She did an ABC sitcom, and this was like her big break, and it ran for quite a few years, and it shot down at the Walt Disney Studios. I actually went to a TV taping as a tourist.
Wow.
Yeah. I loved this show. I really loved this show.
Is this an obvious show?
It was popular in its time. I don't know if it's... I'll say that it did not end well due to very sad circumstances. Ooh, the look in your face. You're confused.
Wait.
She was like 16.
She wasn't the lead of this show.
She was a lead. She wasn't
lead.
the lead, but she
Okay.
was like one of the children on the show. What? What's that look? It starts with a number.
It's just the number.
Yep.
Great. Then I was not close.
What were you thinking?
Nothing. I don't know.
8 simple rules for dating my teenage daughter. You don't recall the show?
Oh, I do when you say the title.
Okay,
but
so
I
this
never
was a
watched
show
it.
that starred John Ritter
Okay.
on ABC. It was a huge hit, like out of the gate, huge hit for ABC. And John Ritter coming home, because I believe Three's Company was ABC as well. And him and Katie Seagal were the adult leads, and they had 3 children, and Kaylee Cuoco was their oldest daughter. And it shot over the Walt Disney Studios, and I actually was in the audience for what sadly became John Ritter's last episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was devastated when he suddenly passed away like the following week. And the show continued for several seasons, but he passed away I think 3 episodes into season 2.
Wow.
Yeah, so season 1 was a big hit. And then season 2 came along and all was going well, and I'm telling you, when I was at that taping, he was having the time of his life. Like, I left there being like, I want to work with this man someday. He seems amazing. And when the events happened, I was devastated. And in any case, the show kept going. They brought in some replacements. It never really felt the same. And eventually, like, David Spade became a replacement. It became a very different show. It lasted several years after that, but it was just never the same. But in any case, it was great when it started.
Yeah.
And it shot at the Walt Disney Studios, and it was on ABC. And now Kaylee is on Big Bang Theory with Mayim Bialik
There you go.
from Blossom.
So I got like half a point for that.
Yeah,
I got
like
Kaylee.
a quarter of a point.
Okay.
Yeah, but I said she. I totally gave it away. But in any
That's
case, your trivia for me.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to know the answer.
are you sure?
Yeah, it's Bette Midler Hocus Pocus. No?
No.
Okay. Then ask your trivia question.
Does that actually connect to this in any way?
Yeah, beaches.
Oh, okay, but no, that's
Because we
not
were
this.
going there earlier, and I thought you were saying, "Oh, you're going to ruin my trivia question." I was going to say,
No.
Mayim Bialik played a young Bette Midler in Beaches,
Right.
and of course, Bette Midler is one of the stars of Hocus Pocus.
Okay, so that's not.
That's not it. Okay,
I had a couple.
Now I'm intrigued.
I had a couple different options for this, but I don't. I'm gonna go with this one.
Okay.
So, we know that Mayim Bialik is a neuroscientist.
Yes.
She was accepted to 2 very, very, very fancy Ivy League schools.
Okay.
And she turned them down to go to UCLA. Can you name the 2 fancy Ivy League schools?
So this has nothing to do with Disney.
It has to do with Mayim Bialik.
Okay. So I'm screwed.
Yours was
I'm screwed.
Kaylee Cuoco.
ABC, Walt Disney Studios.
Far reach, though. I
I'm
don't
gonna
feel
say
bad about this.
Yale
Yes.
and Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh, boom.
Ding, ding, ding.
And she decided UCLA. Why?
Yes,
Just
I don't
because she wanted a sitcom.
No, it was because I don't know what that laugh was. That was this was after Blossom.
No, yes. She actually left showbiz for a long time, and it was very weird when she
Became a neuroscientist.
Well, that I actually find more fitting than Big Bang Theory for her. Like that weirds me out that she's on that show. Just because it was such a big deal. Blossom was a hit.
Yeah.
It was only, I think, 5 seasons or something. Nothing huge, but like
That's still a lot.
back then. It was. Big Bang's going into season 12.
That's scary to me.
Longest running sitcom of all time.
That's all I want.
Unbelievable. Besides The Simpsons, longest running multicam sitcom of all time. It's impressive.
That's it.
Anyways, guys, thanks for joining. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on the show, Riley.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Where can people find you?
I'm Riley Costello.
Yay.
On the socials.
On everything, on anything that matters, right?
The socials.
Guys, don't forget to find our social media over at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. Also, leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on iTunes. You help other Disney fans find the show so much more easily. And of course, over on Instagram, we do the Daily Disney Decision every single day. That's DIZNEYCTC over on Instagram. So make sure you're following there, and you can find out more information about that at DisneyCoastToCoast.com and clicking on the DDD tab there. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePaoli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.